What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Today I have a different video than what I normally do. Today I wanted to cover 5 little things that Madden 25 took away from franchise that we had in previous titles that just upset me a little bit because I don't understand what the purpose of or why this was even a thought to change. So I'm not going to waste any time. This isn't going to be a very long video. Let's just get right into number 5. This first one is something I've seen a few of you mention in my comments, and I've seen around on different forums and different, Reddit posts and just different spots where people are talking about Madden that are just like, why in the world was this taken away? And that is the ability to play as a player. How is this affecting anybody? That's what I don't understand. How was this affecting anybody? Like, I understand you want to push people to play the new superstar mode, which I do. I understand to some point, but like, I don't get the point of taking this away for players that they don't want all the extra stuff. There are some players that just like a simple, I want to just load up, play as my player and move on. And now you can't even really do that. And I just don't understand the purpose of taking that away from franchise. To me, it wasn't that big of a deal to have it in. And it just seems like a weird thing to delete. And now let's move on to number 4. And this one is another minor thing, not really gonna affect a whole lot of people, I don't think. But again, something minor to me that I noticed that bothers me a little bit. Number 4 is gonna bring us over to Madden 24, actually, because I can't show you what I mean in Madden 25 because they took it away. And this one, again, these are minor things. If you think I'm making this video because these are huge deal breakers, I'm not. It's just minor, little tiny things that keep getting taken away or changed in Madden and not talked about, and there are things that sort of bother me a little bit. So number 4 is the X Factor database. So this is something that I would use quite frequently to keep track of other teams around the league to see what kind of playmakers they had, whether that was for a trade or for matchups when I was going against them, or maybe when I'm 3 or 4 years in and there's too many players that have X Factor that are 35 and all that good stuff. I could go through, very easily pinpoint them, click on it, and go right to their player card and make adjustments accordingly from there. So just another minor thing that they took away that was always available in Madden since X Factors and Superstars became a thing. It is just now gone. And I just don't understand why. Just minor little tiny extras in franchise that, whether you think people like it or not, it was at least an option they had to look at and to use as a tool, and another one is now gone. Number 3 on the list is going to be the appearance. In Madden 24, you have the ability to adjust their gut, their chest, arm size, arm definition, rear size, thighs, and calves. I could change this to whatever I wanted it to be, and I can make the players' bodies look more realistic, because we all know Madden is at an issue always making player builds if they're not ones that are scanned into the game, and then especially once you get into the future of a franchise and you have these generic players involved that you've drafted, the players are they just look stupid. And now coming over to Madden 25, you can see that all of it was taken away except arm size and thighs. There's no way to combat the fact that every auto generic player has calf muscles the size of most people's thighs, or the fact that so many receivers and corners have super skinny arms. You can't adjust things to make them look the way you want. If somebody has a weird placement with their chest, you can't adjust that, or their gut or anything. You're just stuck using arm size and thighs. And it's just one of those things that's like, again, why take it away? We all talk about every year how all we want as Madden franchise players is we want customization, we want immersion, we want the ability to control our own league, our own franchise. That includes the look of players too. Why take this away? And if you're gonna take it away, for the love of God, at least make the auto generic bodies that generate halfway decent. Where is the script that puts the calf muscle so large on every single player, regardless of their position or their size or height or whatever, to be maxed out? And then if it's not maxed out, it's so small it looks like their legs are gonna snap if they get taken down. This entire list is things that nobody even thought would be taken away because it's just something we expect to have and wanted even more in-depth versions of them, but instead they're just taken away. And now we come to number 2. And this was something that may have been hidden from you because it looks like it's a whole different system, but really it's just a different UI for the players. But what they did was they took away your ability to adjust your favorites list. And what I mean by that is let's add some players to our favorites list. Favorite. All right, now we have our favorites list. Well, let's say you decide that, you know, you like this corner more than you like Jason Logan. You cannot move this guy. It just clicks into their thing. And if you click the set favorite, right, it does nothing. I'm clicking the triangle button. It does nothing. I can't, if you hold it down, it still just does the beep. There's nothing here that you can adjust. It's just, this is the way it is. So you have to put your board in the exact order when you're selecting your favorites that you expect them to be for the entirety of the season. And now just going back 1 year to Madden 24, I have this here as my favorites list. And all we have to do is hold down X, move it on up the board, and there we go. Now Frank Hall is listed as my second best player. Maybe Adam Hutchinson wants to be my number 1. Maybe that's the way I see the board, so I can put him up there. And it's done. A very simple task that for whatever reason, whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. I don't know if there was supposed to be something that happens when you click the select button and it just doesn't work. Maybe that's the case, and somebody somehow overlooked that function in, you know, quality testing, which a little strange. There's not that much to look through in franchise for you to miss the few things that we do have, right? So I'm not sure how you missed that, but regardless of that, we don't have that option anymore. So why does this affect people? Well, for one, in my franchises, if you guys have watched them in the past, I like making my favorites list and then sharing them with you guys during the season so that you guys understand where my head is at and you guys can give me your input, and I don't have to siphon through every single player to find the ones that I want later on. I just know things like I really like Braden Butler and I want him above 4 other of these guys. So if he is there at my next pick, he is my guy I gotta take because that's the guy I think is better. It doesn't matter what these other guys offer. And I don't have to think as much during the draft. I can just focus on the draft, get through it so it's done and over with. Some people don't like sitting in the draft for 2 hours trying to get everything done. I don't mind it, but it's not the point. I'm not the only one playing the game. The other bigger reason that this is a big problem, how many of you guys play in a Madden league with multiple other users that run on like a daily advance cycle or a 3-day advance cycle or whatever the case is? You guys are doing like, what, 3 drafts a month? How many of you have full-time jobs or a family or just other things outside of Madden or school that you don't have the time to sit down for 2.5, 3 hours while your entire league drafts? So what did you do? You would set your draft board in case you missed it. You at least had players in the order that you wanted to take them while you were away. And now you can't even do that. You have to meticulously go through the entire list, unfavorite somebody, then re-add them as a favorite below this other player, and then if you change your mind 3 weeks later, you have to undo your entire list and then start over from scratch. It's just a complete waste of your time, my time, and anybody else who plays this game's time. And it's just something that is just so silly to not have as a function in the game. And again, I don't know if this was intentional or not. There is a select button in Madden 25, but it does nothing. And I don't know how you overlook that. So I hope that it is just a bug, and I hope it is something that gets fixed, like tomorrow, or whatever the next patch is. I don't know. The second part to this for the favorites list and all that is just, it's still with the draft board. It wasn't a big enough thing for me to make it its own topic, but I do need to mention it, and that's the fact that this board only goes to 50. A couple of Maddens ago, this board would show you every position, all the way down. All in order for how the game recognizes them in the projections, so that way you knew if this center needed to be taken before this wide receiver based on the projections of where they stood as like the next best player available in the draft. Because there's a lot of factors that play into that. What the other computer team is going to do, what positions they need, how many players are maybe above them, Are they a gem? Are they going to be taken a little bit earlier? It was nice to see where the game recognized them and moved them around throughout the season for tracking purposes, and it's gone now. I'm not sure why. I mean, if you want to call this a big board, that's fine, but then you should call it a big board. Don't say all positions, because if you have an all here, I expect to see all of the players. And I know that we could because we could in the past, and now it's just gone. And I don't understand why, and it irritates me. And now the number one thing is not a very big deal, and I can't even give you an example of it because it's been a couple of years since this has also been in the game as well. And this one is probably the most damning of them all, because this one is actually the one that really helped me the most when it came to figuring out what to do going into my off season. It's one thing to see if a player drops an overall or two, but it's another thing to see where they dropped off from, right? Did they lose 1 to zone coverage, or do they lose 4 to speed? You know, those are things that make a difference. And Madden used to have an option to where at the end of the season, once the regression roll hit, there would be a separate tab here where you could see every single attribute that was removed from a player due to regression. And it would lay them all out on a list, and you could go through every team and see everybody throughout the league that had regression hit them. I don't know why this was removed. I really loved this tool. It helped me tremendously in my franchise rebuilds, and I miss it that it's not here. That is my last thing to mention that Madden took away. I'm curious if you guys have anything else that you know that Madden in the last couple of years has taken away from franchise that they thought wasn't a big deal, but is actually a big deal to you. Because I have quite a few of them, as you guys now know, that aren't really ruining my experience, but they are definitely making it just that much less fun. And again, I don't know why these things keep happening. I don't think at this point in game development that we are that handicapped with storage space or whatever the case is that we can't have these simple things in here when some of the games that have come out on this exact system that we all play on is much more vast, much more detail oriented, and much better. It's just not acceptable. Every year we go through this whole cycle where we're getting more, we're adding everything back, we're bringing more stuff to franchise. We hear you, franchise players, but yet the actions for the last few years, while giving us new UIs and maybe a new scouting system, which I will say was a good thing. I'm not saying that everything's been bad, but I can't just pretend that all this other stuff isn't also worsening the mood too. Well, yeah, okay, we got a new scouting system, we got staff tree, and we have random, you know, storylines for players now that are very repetitive. But what did we lose? Well, the 6 things that I mentioned on this list is just 6 of them. And I'm sure there's plenty of other ones that maybe I haven't realized, or maybe it's been so long that they've been removed that I'm forgetting them. There's plenty of things if I go back, way back in the day, but I'm not going to go down that road. That's a slippery slope, and I understand, and you guys know how the old Mads were and how they were received. That is all I have for this video. Again, I'm not saying that these ruin the game. I'm not saying anything of that nature. All I'm saying is that these are very minor things that I don't think were really taking up a whole lot of space, hurting anybody in the long run, that were taken out without any consideration of, hey, is this something that our fan base likes to use in this particular game mode? Is this worthwhile to remove from the players that are playing this game? And if you are removing this stuff, where is the stuff to replace it? I'm gonna leave you guys with that thought. If you agree with this video, or if you have other things, let me know down below. Before you leave, if you hit that like button, it'd be much appreciated. Subscribe if you have not already. I have some more stuff coming out in the next few weeks between NIU Dynasty, my upcoming Madden 25 franchise, which I still think I'm gonna do the Vikings on, not 100% sure yet. And then a few other extra videos that I do have in the works for later dates. And if you guys don't want to miss that, of course, hit that bell notification so you know when they drop. And I will see you guys next time.